Okay. Hey guys, my name is Victoria, welcome back to my channel. It's the new year and I have heard from a lot of people that they want to read more this year, that their number one goal is to read more, and that was my goal last year in 2021. After uploading the video that I read 100 books, I felt like it gave the wrong impression. Like a lot of people said, oh my god, I could never read 100 books. Like I read 30 books and that was so hard. And the thing about me reading 100 books was a complete surprise to me too. My goal last year was 25 because I read 4 in the whole of 2020. So last year I was like, okay, this is a reasonable goal. But since I started my booktube channel, it also kind of became part of my job, which don't get me wrong, as of now I'm not earning any money with YouTube. But because I didn't have any other job or uni that I had to work for, YouTube was the perfect distraction. And I needed lots of distraction last year. I was going through some tough things. Next to YouTube, books were the best thing. And since I combined the two, it was just a no-brainer that I was able to read a lot last year. To all the people who want to read more but really don't know how, they don't know how to start, these are my 10 tips that I want to give you guys in order to read more, in order to maybe fall in love with reading again or reaching your reading goal. I did such a video last year in February, but I feel like these tips that I'm giving you guys right now, I can 100% say that they're working because last year in February, I wasn't as experienced with reading. This sounds so weird, but I feel like everyone in this like book community, whether it be on TikTok or Instagram or YouTube, knows that reading is something that we know from middle school, that we learned in elementary school, but not everyone likes reading. But there are people out there who really want to love reading, that really want to make that a habit. So let's get into this list and maybe this will help. I don't know. I hope. Or maybe it's just an enjoyable video for you. Number one is, I feel like, the most important, which is don't pressure yourself. Don't pressure yourself into reading 100 books this year or 150, 90 when you know that you probably can't achieve it. Pressuring yourself to read is really, really bad. I did that last year in summer. I was reading so many books because I was like, I need to have lots of books to talk about in my wrap-ups, and I put a lot of pressure onto myself and reading became a chore in a way. And that's not what you want to do. The goal isn't to read as much as you can. The goal is to fall in love with books so much that you can't help but to do it every day, because it's such a delight, because it's such a pleasure when you get to read, when you finally get the time of the day where you don't have to do anything and finally consume and experience and enjoy a book. And pressure can't be part of that safe space. It needs to be a thing that you kind of like crave, that when you don't read on a day, you feel it. You feel like, I don't feel good right now. And I don't want you to feel pressure by doing this. I think this is something that happens subconsciously, but it's simply start reading, and after a while, if you do it every day, you feel that you can't go a day without it. And again, for me, it was a totally subconscious experience that I made because I suddenly realized, I didn't read today. I feel very uneasy. I don't feel good. So trust the process. It will eventually happen. Number two is important to achieve number one, which is make it a habit. Read every day, but it could only be for 5 minutes. You can make these steps as slow and as small as possible. You don't have to read 30 minutes every day. You don't have to read an hour or 2 hours. This is very advanced, guys. Read for 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes. And after a while, I believe if you read a really good book, you don't want it to stop. But the beginning is always the hardest. And that's the thing with every lifestyle. Make it a habit. Do it every day, or try to do it every day. You soon will realize that 5, 10, 15 minutes isn't enough. And that is something that also happens consciously, and that will happen if you take 15 minutes of a day, 5 minutes, whatever, and make this time for yourself, because you realize that this is really time you spend for yourself. You don't do it for anyone else, and you also get to connect with yourself even more. And this is getting too philosophical, so let's continue with number 3. Maybe join a booktube channel. Join booktube, book talk, book Instagram, and I don't mean to participate in it, but maybe start following some people. I myself have the goal of this year to be a bit more bookish, aesthetically pleasing on my Instagram, for example. And what really helped me to get into reading was watching a lot of booktube videos. Not talking only about myself. Like, if my videos are motivating you in that sense, I'm so happy about that. Really. But seeing other people read a lot and talk passionately about their love for books, or say, this book was amazing, I want you all to read it, it's so much fun because it motivates you to read more, and it motivates you to really get into books because you want to experience that book yourself because everybody says it's so great. And luckily there's a lot of media. If you don't want to spend so much time seeing other people read a lot while you don't really know where to start with books, maybe create a Storygraph account or Goodreads. I prefer Storygraph, but everybody is different. You can set up an account. I made a whole video about this, how like this works and how Storygraph asks for your preferences. And if you want to fall in love with books again, this is amazing because you kind of know what you like. And if you don't have any clue, I would recommend the thing that I said before: join people, watch people spread their love for books, and then eventually you will find out what you really, really like, and then can set up this account and browse through it. Find out what books will be released this year, what books were released last year, whatever, what books were really hyped. Read the summary, read what other people said about this book, and maybe you'll find a book that you really want to read. The exchange of love for books is something so important that I couldn't help but start talking passionately about books, because when I'm passionate about something, I need to talk about this. So that's why this channel is now a booktube channel. Well, it's been for a year. Anyway, number 4 is something that I mentioned in my last video as well. Find the time and find the space where you love to read the most, where you are your most attentive. I'm a very impatient person. I can't sit still. I need to move constantly. And reading books is not the most stimulating for the things that your body wants to do in a certain moment. It's getting very therapeutic. I don't know. Anyway, every person is different. So everybody has a different cycle. I'm not talking about the menstrual cycle. I'm talking about maybe you are a person that is really awake and attentive in the morning, or you are a night owl. So don't pressure yourself into reading at a time where you know that you are tired, when you know that getting information in your head is really hard for yourself. And most of us are still in school or working. This 9-to-5 thing isn't something for everyone, right? Some people would love to do all their work at night, but they can't because they have to wake up in the morning very early to go to school or whatever. And that sucks. But if you want to make the effort, then try to find the exact time in a day where you want to read the most and where you know that reading will be fun and that reading will not feel difficult for you. When you pressure yourself into, I have to read right now, but you read and you read the sentence over and over and over again, and you can't get it into your head, stop reading. If you don't know what your ideal time is, find out. I think you will find out in the first page that you read at a certain time and realize, this is great, I'm going to continue, or this I can't stay awake. So find out when and where you want to read the most. I, for example, love my armchair. I also love sitting on my bed and reading on my bed. Some people really hate reading on their beds because they get tired. Find out your ideal space and time to read. Number 5 is something that enriched my life in every aspect. Listen to audiobooks. I love audiobooks so much. And there's a certain prejudice that if you only listen to an audiobook, you don't really read. But that is such bullshit. You literally experience the story, but you listen to them. And most of the time, the audiobooks are even better than the voices that you have in your head, if you have voices in your head while you read. Okay, you can listen to audiobooks anywhere you want. If you don't want to subscribe to any audiobook services like BookBeat or Audible or whatever is out there, most of these apps have a free trial, and I would highly recommend you to do that. But if you know that you most of the time only want to listen to audiobooks or read when you're at home, there are tons of audiobooks on YouTube or even Spotify, but that's also an app that you have to pay for. So if you don't want to spend any money in the beginning, try to find the audiobook on YouTube, and then when you feel like, I would really like this audiobook thing, do a free trial on a service that you like, a service that appeals to you. I use BookBeat, but this is not a product placement. One that you can listen to a lot of audiobooks, though I do believe they're only available in English on this website. goldenaudiobooks.com is a website that you don't have much control over the audiobooks, so you can't adjust the speed that you listen to, you can't download it. But if you don't want to spend money in the beginning, this audiobook website is pretty good. The next one is also for all the people who can't concentrate while reading, who just can't absorb the words. Listen to the audiobook while reading the book. This is the best thing, especially if you're in a reading slump. I find myself a lot of times reading and then this is getting kind of boring, or when a book has a very slow-paced passage and you're like, I really want to read this book, but I can't seem to concentrate, and I found the perfect time and space, so why isn't it working? Listen to the audiobook while reading it. This is so much fun. I did that with most of the books that I read in December of 2021, and I loved it. It's perfect for people who really can't concentrate very well. Listen to the audiobook simultaneously. This is so much fun. I love doing it. It's my favorite thing. Number 7, I believe, is very important because books are very expensive. So try to thrift some. There are a lot of things in Germany where you go into like these free book libraries where you can swap books. So you put one in and you can take out another. And this is a lot of fun. Sadly, I live in a part of the country where this is not the case. I haven't found a single one yet. A thing that I keep forgetting are libraries. Get a library card. If all this is a bit too complicated, then there's a very easy step where you can consume lots of, and especially classics, on a website that is called Planet eBooks. You can download these as like PDFs and Words or simply ebooks and read a lot of books for free on your phone. Because most of you who are watching my videos currently are German peeps, I'm not sure if there are any German books on this website, but if you know a website that is very similar to Planet eBooks, then maybe link it down below for the people who want to read German books but maybe can't afford them right now or don't want to bother and want to read it right this second, where you can download them. And this is also perfect for school, so you don't have to buy the book all the time. Number 8 is take a book everywhere you go. This is pretty simple. There's always the possibility that you have to wait for something or that you see a nice place and feel like, oh, this is the perfect place to read, but you don't have a book with you. Obviously, if you are really fond of ebooks, then you have your book with you anyways. But if you're currently reading a book that you have in the physical copy, take it with you everywhere you go. I take it with me every time I go to therapy, every time I have an appointment, because I know even if I only wait 4 minutes, these 4 minutes I can fill with reading books. Number 9 is very important. Stop reading a book when you realize that you really don't like it. If you read the first 50 pages, if you read the first 30 pages and realize this is horrible, I hate it, don't pressure yourself into finishing that book, especially if it takes a lot of time for you. Sometimes that's pretty hard because you already feel like, I spent some time with this book, I put some effort into it, so if I don't finish it, that'd be bad, but it really isn't. You're wasting your time if you're reading a book that you really don't want to read and that you feel like just isn't appealing to you. I feel like a lot of people don't want to quit books that were really hyped, but even if a million people really love a book and you really hate it, don't read it. Really. Just put it away, unhaul it, give it to a thrift store, give it to someone or sell it on the internet. Really, don't bother with it. Don't bother. And the last tip I have for you guys is make it fun. Make yourself a tea or hot chocolate, and in the summer a cold beverage, whatever. Get yourself a blanket, wear cozy and warm socks, or sit in the sun, sit outside in the summer. Make it as fun as possible. Turn on some classical music. Make this time that you spend with yourself as nice as possible. It doesn't have to be pretty. You don't have to get dressed up for reading, but if you know that putting on a candle will make this whole experience much better, then put on a candle. Make your reading space as nice as possible. Make easy and fun things that you know are just going to enrich your reading experience. Okay guys, this is the video. I hope you liked it, and if you did, please give me a thumbs up and comment down below what you would like to see next. If you have a tip, please share it down below for all the people who really want to make reading a goal in this year, in 2022. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't yet, and don't forget to click the little bell next to the subscription button to never miss an upload. All my social media, including my Patreon, is linked down below. And yeah, I think this is it. My camera is about to die. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll hopefully see you in my next video. Bye! That made feel. Number 2 is important to number 2 is find out and that made me feel like but if you okay, that's it.